you're a farmer, you think about the 100-year plan. How does this work impact multiple generations? That is, how we're looking at our work around sustainability at Cairnspring. So thinking about the next generation and many generations after that, because we're finite. This is really just a moment in time. It's really intimate, the work that we're doing, because, we're out on farms and we're, digging in the soil, touching the worms and looking at the fungal sheaths on roots. We are working with people who are tending and stewarding the land. Farmers farm because they want to be out in nature, be their own boss, produce healthy food. Very few people go into agriculture because they want to buy a bunch of chemicals and spray chemicals out on their fields. And so in many ways, regenerative farming and organic farming is allowing farmers to do what they were called to do. Our work around the Soil Health Initiative, it's like a no strings attached. And a lot of times a farmer will say, what's the catch? And it's like, there's no catch. Really what Cairnspring is doing here in the Pendleton area, and as we've done in the Skagit Valley, is build a community of farmers. It's really about community and teamwork. We're all kind of learning together. It's taking a lot of farmers with tremendous amounts of courage and bravery to say, this isn't working for us, and we want to try something new. There's a reduction in the use of synthetic inputs. There's a reduction in nitrogen use. So we're seeing an increase in grain quality due to the regenerative farming practices in farmers who are further down the road. I was asking some farmers recently, what does it feel like to walk out in your field when there's cover crop planting? And they said, well, it's really beautiful. All of the different colors, and it's much more alive. There's like some birds and bugs, and all of this wildlife was beginning to exist again on the farm. And so, those are sort of real things that farmers are beginning to experience on their farms. And then, from just an economic perspective, the further down the regenerative road I go, the less money I'm spending on synthetic inputs. When I first started this work, we were charged with looking at how do we help to identify what are the greenhouse gas emissions at the mill. And so what Change Climate and the climate label offered us was not only a deep dive into what are our emissions at all of the different scopes, so we could have a broader understanding as an organization as to what are the greenhouse gas emissions per unit of flour that we produce, but then it also gave us ways to identify the ways in which we as a company are already investing into climate solutions. It wasn't just about identifying what your carbon footprint is, buy these carbon offsets, and then you're at neutral. But it's actually action oriented. And so for us, that was really important because we are an action oriented, mission driven organization. That's why we're investing all of this and saying, look, we believe in you. What do you need to produce healthy, nutritionally dense grain? And we have to listen to the land, to the farmers who are stewarding it. That's why I got into agriculture. That was born out of a love of people. A lot of people farm regeneratively and organically because of the environment, and I respect that. Of course, I care about all of those things. But really, it's like our love of people. We want people to have healthy, nutritious food so that they can do good things in their lives. It's a healing endeavor. And so that's why we go on,